For me, the data tracking story starts at birth. My Quantified parents knew that I needed to master 30 million words by the time I was 3. Accordingly, from my earliest weeks, they monitored their words and conversations and mine with a digital word pedometer, kind of like a Fitbit for conversations. From these early days, all of my academic and outside of school accomplishments were documented. And thanks to digital credentialing, I amassed an impressive virtual portfolio from preschool through high school, into college, where I achieved magna cum laude status, and took online courses at the graduate and postgraduate universities from all over the world. I always knew where I stood learning-wise, and my parents, peers, teachers, even my camp counselors did too, thanks to the continuous stream of data and our robust, success-focused feedback loops. This group was augmented by other virtual mentors and coaches in a variety of disciplines from around the world. Through digital metrics, I've been able to analyze, measure, and regulate the idiosyncrasies of my DNA, my physical exercise and meditation practice, my calories and nutrition intake, my sleep patterns, and my stress levels. I've led a happy, healthy, anxiety-free life. I'm a 21st century Goldilocks. I have used these wonderful digital tools to choose where I work, where I play, where and how I travel, how I look, where and what I eat, who my friends are, what cultural events I attend, even the city and neighborhood that I eventually settled in. These tools have enabled me to document my entire life journey, hour by hour. What a wonderful legacy for my children and theirs. These digital supports have fed my lifelong curiosity, fostered serenity and well-being, helped me to pursue a satisfying and rewarding profession, and guided my financial decisions. Because of them, I've lived wisely and efficiently, continually enhancing my natural skills in leadership, charisma, and empathy. My blog, Be All You Can Be, Measuring Your Way to Your Authentic Self, is among the most followed in the world. My online courses, speeches, and other parts of my product line have given me a comfortable income. But, you ask, what about love? What about love? And for that I must thank my local art museum. It had woven my aesthetic, artistic, and emotional preferences into a series of richly satisfying, personalized, flow, on-site and online experiences. One afternoon, needing a bit of a lift, the museum app on my smartwatch led me to a fabulous late Richard Diebenkorn painting, and as I gazed at it, my mood soared. But then the watch vibrated with a new and unfamiliar tingle. And that's when I saw Irving. Our eyes met. Another vibration, this time confirming that not only were Irving and I turned on by the same works of art, the overall scans of our respective psychological and physiological data showed that we were, biometrically speaking, made for each other. By the time we crossed the gallery, arms outstretched, we knew that this was it. And dear Irving has been by my side ever since, and Irving is right over there at the table. Irving, will you please wave at the group? Thanks, dear. And here I am, ladies and gentlemen, an embodiment of the quantified self, every woman. Deeply honored to win the 2020 Quanti Award. Thank you very much. And thanks especially to all of the devices that made it possible.
Well, I'm glad that worked out for you, Marsha. But I'm here to tell you it's not like that for all the rest of us. This was me a year ago, and it's your fault. I was a devoted follower of your blog. I bought the podcasts, I followed the tapes, and in 2014 I went down the rabbit hole. I took the first step towards becoming a quantified self, and I put a jawbone up on my wrist. It was the beginning of the end. of a long, dark slide that lost me my job, my health, my identity, and finally my husband. How did it happen, you might ask? What could go so terribly wrong just by looking at quantified data? Well, for one thing, it's addictive. I can tell you right now, you start loading this data up 2 times a day, 3 times a day, and pretty soon you can't resist peaking every 10 minutes. In 2014, I came down with the flu, 102-degree fever, staying in bed, drinking fluids, just like they say you should, but no, I synced my jawbone and it told me, you haven't taken enough steps today. So what do? Like a good little girl, I put on my running shoes, struggle outside in the 10-degree weather, and start running. I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks. And when I finally got out, I said, that's it, I'm going to quit. But you know what it's like trying to quit. Join 12 steps. It gets worse before it gets better. I had only been using this for movement tracking. Now I started logging my food. This is a bad thing. I made friends. I exchanged data with people in my 12 steps group. Also a bad thing, because you know what? They lie. They lie through their teeth. So I'm looking at their food intake and I'm saying, oh, you ate 12 almonds today. Total. God, I guess I'm eating too much. I became anorexic. They're all saying, I lost 5 pounds this week. I lost 10 pounds this week. And I'm thinking, I must be overweight. So not only was I over-exercising, I was under-eating. But finally, a couple years later, I hit bottom and I said, I can handle this, I can quit. And I did briefly, until I took a great new job that seemed fine, fresh start, until my employer got on the Quantified bandwagon. And one year at the employee party, they handed us all Fitbits and said, guess what? We're going to have teams. We're going to use this great social media site, and we're going to let you form little competitive teams between the departments and set goals. And I thought to myself, uh-oh, here we go again. So I went to my supervisor and I said, I can't do this, really. This is a bad thing for me. And at first she said, fine, it's okay, it's optional. But of course, as soon as all my coworkers start putting on their Fitbits and earning points, they're all looking at me as the weak link in the chain because everybody else in the company is skunking my team because I'm not contributing steps. So I said, fine, okay, great. I'll wear the device. I can manage this. I can do just a little bit. So I clip on the Fitbit. Unfortunately, at this point, another player stepped into the game, which was the health insurance company that contracted with my company. Because way back in 2014, when they were writing the Affordable Care Act, there was this little provision they snuck in that said that employers could offer incentives and price the health insurance to their employees based on looking at data, health data, how much you're moving, how much you're eating, whether you're engaging in a healthy lifestyle. Well, okay, so I had voluntarily opted into wearing a Fitbit again, and my company's insurance provider starts looking at that data, and guess what? They started busting on me because, again, I was becoming anorexic. And so they raised my premiums, and I was having trouble paying my bills. Okay, at this point, things got even worse, because I got a message in the mail from a blackmailer. The problem is, my husband was taking a lot of out-of-town business trips. I get really stressed when he's out of town. I mean, I have all of these problems, all of this stress at work, worried about paying the health insurance bills. So I would get up in the middle of the night and I'd do yoga. And I'd do the little down dogs, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Well, it turns out that the movement data from doing yoga looks an awful lot like sex. And I looked aroused. So these hackers had gotten my data, and they were threatening to blackmail my husband, saying, every time you're out of town, look, your wife is out running around in the middle of the night and being really happy and active. And I said, look, I do not need this conversation with my husband. I'm just going to pay them off. Okay, I can deal with this, I can make this go away. So I decided to, these guys ironically did not trust the digital world for the life of them, so I offered to pay in Bitcoins. No, they didn't want Bitcoins. They wanted me to actually get on a plane, put cash in a bag, and come pay them. I said, okay, I can do this. Until I got to the airport. Because again, this is something that was starting to be developed way back in 2015. by this time, Homeland Security, you may not know this, is using their future attribute screening technology. Now, when it was introduced 5 years ago or so, they were just looking at the kind of biometric data that they could glean from looking at your face, remotely detecting your pulse. But sometime in the last few years, they found out it was a lot more effective and a lot more accurate if they tapped into your biometric data at your baseline, so they could not only see how you're behaving and what your pulse is, but how you normally behave and what your normal biometrics are, so that they could say, you know, this person's normally stressed out, so that's not a problem, or this person's usually really calm, so even though this doesn't look too bad for them, that's really freaked. Well, I was really freaked. I was going to pay a blackmailer, for heaven's sakes. And so they pull me out and say, ma'am, we notice you're a potential terrorist threat. To make a long story short, this pretty much all fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my health insurance, I lost my husband, and I ended up on the street. Now, I am eternally grateful to this august body, because if you had not, through your voting, applied your collective influence on the administration to offer me a quantified pardon, I would still be out on the street. Thanks to your intervention, I've had a digital wipe of all my data and I can start fresh. I'm eternally grateful. But I want you to know, this is a dummy. It's there to remind me never again, no matter what the temptation or the pressure is, to plug into the quantified self. Thank you very much.